So our first topic is graphing linear equations. So let me give you an overview on that. Some of this stuff should be review, but if you've forgotten it, it's okay. But you'll probably be like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's probably going to be a lot of that. So this is the general equation for a linear equation. Just that letter, just the m, is the slope. And that letter is where it crosses the y-axis. It's called the y-intercept. And so if you look at the slope, you can look at the slope in terms of a direction. So this is how the line moves. And this is your starting point. So if I have an equation that looks like this, the two numbers that I'm going to focus on is this number and that number. A lot of the stuff that you're going to see on the SAT is going to be specific to that number because that number tells us a whole bunch of different stuff, and we're going to go over all that stuff. So if I wanted to graph this line, I always start with my starting point. Let's put a couple more up there. So my starting point is going to be at 3. This is the x-axis. This is the y-axis. So I'm always going to start on this line. I'm not trying to question your intelligence or anything. I'm just assuming that you know nothing. That's the way I'm approaching it. So a lot of this stuff you probably already know. So I'm going to put a dot there. And then I'm going to take this number and I'm going to make it into a fraction. So this is 2 over 1. The top number tells me how far up, if it's positive, or down, if it's negative, to go. And then the bottom one tells me how far right, if it's positive, or left, if it's negative, to go. So since my fraction is 2 over 1, it's telling me to go up 2 and over 1 from that one point. So I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. And then I would go up 2 and over 1. And so then this, ooh, I missed. Let's try that again. So that would be my line. I missed again, but you know what I'm saying. There we go. There we go. So remember, this tells you the direction. That tells you where to start. Okay, so let me clear this. And I want you to do a couple of them. So I'm going to say that y is equal to 3x plus, let's say negative 3x plus 4. I think I can actually do a grid. That makes it easy. This is a little disorienting to start off with, but the more we use it, the better you'll be at it, because you see I can move pretty freely with it. The thing you want to do is do not look at the board itself. Look at the screen.
Okay.
And just follow the arrow with the screen, and then you'll get the orientation right.
Okay.
But it is a little off-putting when you first start with it.
Okay. Do I have to click anything or just?
Nope, you just write. So if you want to select a pencil, you just put the arrow over that pencil.
Oh my gosh. What in the world? Oh, ew, that's weird. Okay, right there.
Okay, and now just make a dot where
Okay.
it's supposed to go. So where do we start?
We start at 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then it's -3, 1. So 1, 2, 3 over 1.
Mm-hmm. Then do it again.
1, 2, 3 over 1. And then where's the line? Is this the
Okay, so grab the arrow.
right here?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Did
just
you touch it? Okay.
yeah.
And now just highlight one of those lines that you already drew, and then we can just extend it.
Okay.
And then we can change the shape of it by just touching the ends of it right. There you go.
This is so. Okay.
There you go.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Okay, cool.
All right. So now let's talk about that line in terms of two different things.
Okay.
Okay. So on the test, they will ask you either what are the zeros for the line.
Okay, which is the x-intercepts, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or what
It's
is
the
x,
X. Right. So what would the x-intercept be for that line?
Okay, so that'd be, I think it's like 1.5. Is it?
It would be, yeah. It would literally be at like 1. It's 1 1/3.
Okay.
Right? Because can you solve that equation mathematically for me to find out where the 0 is for the x? How would you do that mathematically?
Wouldn't I just get the x by itself?
Okay, the first thing that you do is you plug in 0 for y.
Okay,
so
yeah,
let's select a pencil.
Is that right?
You got it.
Okay.
And then
So
put in 0 for y.
Oh, that's a G.
That's okay.
Okay. Plus x plus 4. Okay, so then I'm going to subtract 4.
Mm-hmm.
Subtract 4, which makes -4. Maybe this is going to be so messy. Equals -3x plus 3.
Not plus 3. How do you
Isn't
move
it a
that
negative?
3? How do you move that -3? What is the -3 doing to the x?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I divide
Right.
by -3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that goes away. Divide by -3. And then x equals, what is that, like?
You can just leave it as 4/3.
Okay.
You can just call it 4/3. Because they're not going to do improper fractions.
Okay,
I mean, they're going to do improper fractions. They're not going to do mixed numbers or anything.
Okay.
In the SAT. Okay, so that would be
The 0.
That would be the 0. Now, how do I write that as an ordered pair? Do you know what the words ordered pair mean?
Yeah, isn't that when it's just like...
Parentheses.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like 4, 3, comma 0. No. Yeah.
It's 4 over 3, comma 0.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so what would the solution for y be?
The solution for y...
Mm-hmm. Or
Wouldn't that be 0?
What is the intersection of y for the
4.
graph? 4, right? Because you just do the exact same thing. You used to say, okay, I stick in
So
0.
isn't that like the y-intercept?
That's the y-intercept.
Okay.
Yeah. They're going to use weird words. That's why I'm trying to use weird words.
I think that's what gets me on that. Is because I don't know the words.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So they'll ask you how many zeros there are.
Okay. So it'd be only 1.
There would only be 1. And it's a linear, it's a line, so there's always only 1.
Okay.
There's either 1 or there are none. Can you draw a line for me that shows that can you draw a line that has no zeros? What kind of line would that be? Because they're going to ask you that question too.
A line, wouldn't it just be like in between like a coordinate? Like it wouldn't be touching one of the axes?
Which axis doesn't it touch if it doesn't have a 0?
The x.
So what does that line look like? Can you picture it?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes like that. I mean, no. I think I know what you're trying to say, but...
Okay. Here is a line with no zeros.
Oh, when it goes like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of line is that?
Is it like undefined or something? No. 0 or
That's a 0 slope.
Zero slope.
So this is the thing that I want to go over. So if it has no zeros, then it means that your m is equal to 0.
Okay.
Okay, so that means that the equation for the line
And this way is undefined.
And that way is undefined. Right. So know the difference between the two.
Okay.
Because those two things can be confusing if you don't see it. So I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to put this picture in your head. So this is called my line man. If the line is pointed that direction, it has what kind of slope?
0.
What is that the symbol for? What's
Oh,
that?
negative. Okay, all right, I know what you're saying.
Okay. If the line is pointed that direction,
Then it's positive.
then it has a positive slope. If the line is straight up and down, then its slope is undefined. That's why his nose is a U. And the equation is x equals some number. So like if I have a line that looks like, I probably should just actually use a straight line. I think I did that pretty well though. Then that slope is undefined.
Right.
And the equation for the line is x equals -4. Do you see where I got the -4 from? So that's where it crosses, right?
Yes.
What is the 0 for that line?
-4.
-4, right. Got it. Okay. If I have a line that looks like that, then the equation for that line, or the slope for that line, is 0, right? And the equation for that line is y equals, is that like
I think it's
negative, is that 5?
2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5.
So that's why his tongue looks like a Y, because the slope is 0, corners of his mouth is 0, and then the slope is 0, and then the equation for the line is just y
equals whatever the,
Okay. Does that line have a 0?
No.
No. Okay. So if it doesn't have a 0, that means it never touches the x-axis.
Right.
And that is true for whatever shape you see. So I'm going to switch this up a little bit and then come back to lines. So I just want to take this a little further. Now, let's talk about a function in general. How many zeros does that function have?
2.
They're right there and there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is the maximum for that function?
Up there.
So I'll make that a different color. Okay. That maximum, this is some more vocabulary, is also called a turning point. If I could spell. Let's put PT. And it's also called the vertex. And that's for, this is called a quadratic or a parabola. Okay. So the same thing happens. If it has zeros, it crosses the x-axis. So what if I have a function that looks like this? Does that have any zeros?
No.
Where is its turning point?
Right there. But it would be a minimum.
But it would be a minimum, right? Right. This curve, the x squared term is going to be negative because it's pointed down. And this one is going to be positive because it's x squared.
Right.
Because it's pointed up. Whenever you factor this, the factors will give you these two numbers. So it would be like, I don't know, x minus 5 times x minus 10. Those numbers are positive, right? But when you write the zeros in factor form, they're always opposite. Right? And when you multiply that out, you actually get this whole curve. For this one, because these zeros don't touch the x-axis, you're going to have imaginary numbers here.
Okay.
So when you factor it out, you'll actually have to use a quadratic equation, and you'll get an imaginary, and that means that it doesn't have any zeros.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now let's go back to lines. Let's start with a picture. I think pictures are always easier to do. What is the same for both of those lines?
The slope.
Good. So that means that what letter would be equal? If I call this line 1 and this line 2, and so this is M1 and this is M2, then what do I know about those two variables?
They're the same.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to draw this as best as I can. There we go. And let me change the color of it. Okay. How's that green line different than that blue line?
It like intersects.
How specifically does it intersect? What if I do this just to make it more clear?
It's a right angle.
Right. So what do I know about the slope of line M3?
That it's the same? I don't
If it's the same, then it would be parallel.
Okay.
Right?
Right. So no.
If it's perpendicular, then this is what's true.
Like a reciprocal or something?
It's the negative reciprocal.
Okay. This is geometry, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And algebra, too, because it's like linear relationships,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if the two things are perpendicular, so if this slope is, let's say, 3 over 4.
That would be -4/3.
Mm-hmm. You always put the negative sign with the top number, too. That's something that you always want to do. Right? So that's basically it. What if I did this, though? And I guess it's not exactly perpendicular. I mean parallel. So let me try to move this. I did a pretty good job there.
Mm-hmm.
There are two lines there, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the math term for two lines that are over top of one another?
Intersect? No.
Because every point is intersected.
Okay.
So there's a math term for that.
Let's start with a P.
It starts with a C.
I don't remember.
Concurrent.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have, this is what it's going to look like. Let's say I had
Concurrent?
x plus y equals 2. And then I have 2x plus 2y is equal to 4. Those two lines are the exact same line. I will prove it to you.
Okay.
So I'm going to solve this equation for y because that's what I normally do anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have y is equal to negative x plus 2. Do you see how I got that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Oh, you just move it over.
Right. Because whenever I take a letter and I move it over to the other side, the only thing that happens with this letter is the sign changes.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I got the negative
Okay.
x from. Okay. So that's already in, it's called slope-intercept form,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so what is the slope here?
-1.
Right. Good. So m in this case is equal to -1. What is the y-intercept?
2.
Okay, so those are the two most important numbers that I was telling you about, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to do the exact same thing here. So I'm going to take this,
Make it a negative 2x.
I'm going to make it a negative 2x. So I have 2y is equal to negative 2x plus 4.
And then you divide that by 2.
Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, and then what do you get?
Y equals negative x plus 2.
Do you see how they can hide that from you? Basically, if you can take one equation and multiply it by some number and you get the other equation, then the two equations are exactly equal to one another.
Okay.
What did I multiply this whole equation by in order to get this one? How do you go from...
Negative 1.
I'm going to make it even easier.
Okay.
Just compare the terms.
So
How do you change from x
2.
to multiply by 2? How do you change from this to that?
2.
How do you change?
That's 2. Yeah.
So what number did I multiply this by?
2. So you just like worked it like backwards.
That's called factoring, right? Because
Uh-huh.
I can factor out a 2 of this equation and I
Right.
get that one, right? I can do this. And that's exactly what's going on up there. Right? So that's part of factoring. We'll do a lot more factoring later on. Okay, so if they have exactly the same b and exactly the same m, then they're the exact same line.
Okay.
Even though the
And
equations
that's the
are
one
different.
that you moved to like
Put on
overlap.
top of the other one.
Okay.
Right. Because before they were just parallel.
Parallel. Okay.
So if they're parallel, this number is just going to be different.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Okay, now we're going to do something a little harder. We are going to get a line from scratch. So let's say that this is, and then, so that's my point.
Okay.
And this
That's a slope.
that's the slope.
Okay.
And now I want to write the equation for the line.
Okay.
I'll do this one first. You might even know how to do this, but I'll do it first just to show you. So the first thing that I do is I start off with my equation for the line. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to label my letters. This is my x, this is my y, and that's my m. And then I'm just going to substitute them in. So I get 1 is equal to 2 times, 2/3 times 2 plus b. Do you see where I stuck the numbers? So now I messed this up. This is supposed to be the other way around. Let me just erase that and just rewrite it. It's like I was trying to make my equation easy for myself and then I tried to make it harder. So this is 3/2. Okay, so when you multiply a whole number by a fraction, you divide the bottom first and then multiply. So what's 2 divided by 2?
1
Times 3.
3.
So this is 3 plus b is equal to 1. And now I'm going to solve for b because that's my what? What does the b represent?
Your x. No, y.
Your y. So represents your start. So what would b be equal to?
Negative 3. 3. No, negative 2. 2.
Okay, so I have my negative 2 and I have my slope. Those are the two most important numbers again. And then I just set them or substitute them back into the original equation.
Right.
So your x and the y are going to stay exactly where they are because I don't have numbers for them anymore. So that's y is equal to 3/2x minus 2. So that would be the equation for your line.
Okay.
Okay, so steps again. You label your x and your y and your m. You write the general equation. You substitute those numbers in, solve for b. And then b and m are the only two numbers that go back into the original equation.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to give you one to do. So So that's your P, and then your M is equal to, I don't know, let's say that's just 1/2. Make it easy. Okay.
That's what's equal, so. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to be 5 equals 2. Okay.
And now write the equation for the line.
Okay, so let's see, it would be y equals, and then I only do the m is 1/2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then x plus 3.
Good. Tell me the slope of the line perpendicular to that line.
-2.
Good. Good. Okay. So that's going to be the next step. I am going to give you an equation for a line, and then I'm going to give you a point, and I want you to tell me what the line parallel to that would be.
Okay.
So let's say, here's the equation for the line. Y is equal to 3/4 x minus 5. And then my point is 2 -3. And I want you to write the equation for the line parallel to that. So you can figure out how that works.
Okay, so you want me to write the equation
Of the line parallel to that line through that point.
Okay, so it'd just be like the same thing, but through that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me think about this.
You got to do one extra step. Then it's the exact same process that we just did. I just added one extra step.
Okay. So this is x,
Mm-hmm.
and this is y.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is the slope. So m equals 3/4.
Right.
Okay. So then.
So that was the one extra step that you had to do.
Oh. Okay.
Right?
Right. Okay. So then it would just be y equals 3/4 x, and then it would be -3, right?
Nope. What did we do before? Once we had our x and our y and we had our m,
We plugged it in.
we plugged it in
Okay.
first.
Okay. So that's not right. So then it would be -3 equals 3/4. And then it'd be 2. And then it would be b.
Mm-hmm.
Y equals mx plus
It's
b.
always plus b.
Okay.
It's always plus.
All right. So then we have to distribute this to this. Oh, lordy. So what can I just do, like 3/4 and then 2/1? Or that would keep it. So 6/4 and then do 3/2.
Do you like fractions?
Not really.
Okay, let me teach you something. I'm going to show you an easy way to get rid of fractions. Because most people don't like
No, I
fractions.
don't at all.
And I did that to you on purpose because I wanted to see what you were going to do. So let's do this. Okay, so we need to figure out how to get rid of that number.
The 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing that I'm going to do is, this is a bottom number, right?
Right.
And that's a top number, right?
Right.
Do they have a number in common?
2.
So I'm going to cross cancel first.
Okay.
So that number becomes a 1.
1, and that one becomes a 2. Becomes 2.
And so this is -3 is equal to 3/2 plus b.
Wait, why is it? Oh, okay, negative. Okay, gotcha.
Right? That's what.
Gotcha.
Make sure that I didn't make a mistake because
No.
I've been doing that. So, okay, now I want to get rid of this too because it's the only part that has a fraction, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything. Yeah. So multiply that by 2. What do you get?
-6.
When you multiply that by 2, the 2's cancel, right?
Right. And yeah.
And then multiply that by 2.
2b plus 2b.
Is that easier to solve than the stuff that we're about to do?
Okay, so what you did was...
If I can reduce first, I always reduce.
Right.
And then whatever number's on the bottom of this fraction, that's the number that I multiply by.
So if you couldn't reduce...
Then I would just multiply by that bottom number.
The denominator.
Right.
Okay.
And I'll give you one like that to do. I just don't want to put too much stuff on you all the time.
Okay.
But now you can solve that, so I'm going to give you the pen back.
Okay. So, where is it? Right here. Where are you at? Okay. So then we're going to take this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so bad with negatives. So this would be negative. I'm so bad with
Okay,
negatives.
let me give you a rule.
I'm so bad with negatives.
I'm just going to give you a rule.
Okay.
If the signs are the same, you add.
Okay. So
Are the signs the same?
yes.
So add them.
So 9. No, 679.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you keep the sign, you add. If the signs are different,
You subtract.
you subtract and keep the sign of the bigger one.
Okay.
Okay? That's all you got to remember.
Okay. So then we're going to do 2b and then divide by 2, divide by 2, and so would be -9/2.
Mm-hmm. And now write the equation for the line. Circle the 2 important things that
So
you've
this, and then where, oh lordy, and wherever the slope is. So that's the slope up here.
Right.
Then. So it's just going to be y equals mx. I need to write this up here. That's supposed to be a b. Okay. So 3/4 x plus 9, -9, no, -9/2.
Good.
Okay.
Now, can you repeat to me the steps to do that? Because we only added one extra step, and then I'm going to add another step in the next one.
Okay, all the step that you added was to find the slope out of the equation that you gave me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you gave me the 2 points. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I had to take the slope and the 2 points and turn it into the other equation, which was -3 equals 3/4 parentheses 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then plus, where is it? Plus 6.
B.
Plus b. Oh yeah, okay.
Because the only thing that I don't know
Is the b.
is the
And
B.
you're trying to find b. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. And then you just solve it. Okay. Where did I solve it?
I did one step before you because
Okay.
we canceled that stuff out.
Okay,
and
so then you
rewrote that
cancel. We
equation.
found like the. Okay, yeah. We made it 2, and then we multiplied by 2
Why do we multiply by 2?
because we wanted to get rid of the fraction.
Right.
Okay,
And then you solve.
and we got b,
And now I know B
the slope.
and so what do I do with that for the end?
You put it in the equation to make the parallel.
Now, I'm going to tell you this. On the SAT, you might be able to stop here once you find the B.
Okay.
Because there will only be one equation with that B in it. So, because it'll be multiple choice, right?
Okay.
So, we can use elimination to actually find the right answer. Some of them won't have the right slope, so I can go back once I know what the slope is. Once I identify the slope, some of them might say like -3/4, or they might say 4/3. You know, they're going to do some combination of
Right.
those two numbers, but I can use elimination because I know what slope they're looking for.
Okay. So the question would be like, what is the perpendicular slope?
The question is, what is the line perpendicular to that line through that point? And then they'll have like this. It'll look like this.
Okay.
So it'll say like y equals 3/4 x plus 6.
Okay.
And then it'll say like y equals -4/3 x plus 9/2. And then it'll have this actual equation. So I know that one is a possibility, right?
Right, because it's perpendicular,
Right.
parallel, which means they have to be the same.
Right. But
that
is it,
one would be perpendicular.
so is it right?
No.
You see how they're going to have different iterations of the exact same thing with a number, so we can eliminate the ones that I know aren't right.
Okay.
And we might actually get it down to a 50-50 shot. So if I don't have enough time to do this second part, I can just guess.
Okay.
That's called an educated guess because I'm eliminating stuff.
Okay.
And there's only going to be a set of 4?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. So
So
if
probably look at the slope first.
look at this, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Look at
Okay.
the slope first. Once you know the slope and you can eliminate, and then if you have to do this part, then do this part. But don't ever go back and substitute it all the way in. If you know what this number is, just look for the equation instead of actually writing this down because it
Okay.
will save you time.
Okay. Which is what I need.
Right, right. We're trying to speed up the process.
Right. Okay.
And as we go along, we'll discuss strategies each and every time that come up, so you can actually like implement them or whatever. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say that I want to know what the line perpendicular to that line going through that point would be.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to stop you. What do you notice about the slope that you wrote and the slope that you have?
I need to flip it.
And do what to it?
I need you to make it 4. No, I need to make it positive
Positive,
4 because we're doing. Okay.
because we're doing what?
Perpendicular. Okay. So then I can cross these out.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be 0 equals 4 plus b minus 4 minus 4. So negative 4 equals b. Okay.
Now write the equation for the line.
Okay. So it would be y equals 4 over 7 x plus minus 4.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Got it.
All right. Last step. Okay. The question is, write the equation of the line.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to teach you a technique called stacking and subtracting.
Okay.
So this is what I'm going to do. This is an x. This is a y. This is an x.
Is that when you go like
That's a
that?
y. So all I'm going to do is just take this x value. And, oh, I missed it. I'm just going to put it underneath that y one.
Okay.
That's what the stacking part does.
Okay.
So I do each one of the numbers first. So this is 5. The y always goes on top because slope is equal to y over x.
Okay.
So that goes on top. This number goes on the bottom. I'm going to do the exact same thing with this one.
So 2 over 7. Or, yeah.
Which one goes
I mean
on top?
7 over negative 2.
And then I subtract. Stack and subtract. So you stack the y on top of the x, stack the y on top of the x. And now I'm just going to subtract. Now, so we're working on our negative rules and stuff. Which number is bigger, 5 or negative 7?
5.
Which number is bigger, period?
Okay,
5
so
or
7?
7? 7. Okay, what sign does 7 have?
Negative.
So that means that this answer has to be negative there,
Okay.
right? And because the signs are different, what do you do to the two numbers?
Subtract.
Subtract.
So it'd be negative 2.
So that's negative 2.
And then you make those positive. I know you
Mhm.
do that.
Which
That'd
number?
be negative 2.
So that'd be negative 2.
So 2. I mean 1.
And that's my...
Slope. Okay, so
So-
you just stacked them. And this is for if they give you 2 sets.
They give you 2 different points and they say find the equation of the line.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So it's one extra step because now I got to calculate what the slope is.
Okay.
But now that I have the slope and I have an x and a y, now it's the exact same question that I was doing before,
Okay.
right? We write the equation y is equal to mx plus b. It doesn't matter which point I use.
Okay.
I just have to use one of them. I
Okay.
can't use the x here and then the y for that one. Then I'll
Okay.
get the wrong answer.
Okay.
So that's why I circled that point because that's the one I'm going to use.
Okay.
So this is 7 is equal to 1
Negative
minus 2 plus b.
Okay.
And so this would be negative 2 plus b equals 7. And so 9 is equal to b. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now I have the 2 important things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can write my equation. Y is equal to x plus 9. That would be my equation.
Okay.
So if they give me 2 points, we stack and subtract. The y always goes on top,
And that's to find the slope.
and that's to find the slope.
Okay.
Once we find the slope, and we can use either one of the points, we do the exact same thing that we did before. So I'm only adding one more piece
Okay.
from the thing that we did before,
So finding the slope.
finding the slope. Everything else you already know how to do. So now we just have to find the slope and then use it. Okay, so I'm going to give you one to do. Hopefully this won't be too difficult. I'm going to try to make the numbers so they don't give you all kinds. But you know how to deal with crazy fractions anyway, right? So I'm not going to worry about it. Here we go.
Okay.
Write the equation for the line.
Oh, no. And 7 over 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this would be negative 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then this would be 3.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Negative 3.
Let me hold on. Are the signs the same or different?
They're the same.
So
So I
what-
add.
Maybe
So
you should actually say that to
So
yourself.
negative 5.
So negative
I
5.
know, I'm so bad with
That-
negatives. Okay, so that is the slope.
That is a slope.
So 4 over 5.
4 over 5 is a slope.
Okay, then I take one of these. So let me write this. Oh no. So y equals mx plus b. Okay, so I take this one because I don't like negatives. Okay, that was supposed to be circled again. So 7 equals 4 over 5. And that's a 4
Mm-hmm.
plus b. Okay, so okay, so these two would be, okay, no, let me think about this. Can I multiply it by 5?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so 5. So then this would be 35
Mm-hmm.
equals, and then that would cross out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it would be 20.
Mm-hmm.
No, I keep it as 4, don't I?
No. The 5 cancels, but what is that number and that number doing to one another?
They cancel each other out. No,
Okay. Is that a top number or bottom number?
top. So they multiply by
So they multiply by
it'd
each
be
other. So it'd be
16.
16.
Okay, so I can't forget about that number. So that's 16. Not.
You can hit the green arrow button up
Oh,
there.
okay.
Just hit it a couple of times till it erases it all.
Oh, go away, go away. Good enough.
Good enough. 16.
Equals, okay, and then plus b? No, plus 5b.
Plus 5b.
Okay, let me move this over here. Okay, then how about I do this?
Mm-hmm.
No, I should not do that. I should do this.
When you're moving stuff, always move the stuff that's furthest
doesn't have a
away.
variable.
Right.
Right. Okay, so 2. Let's make it. See, I'm okay. Wait. 16, 35. So it'd be 20. See, this is
Okay. Write 15 there. Put a 1 by that 5 up there.
Okay.
Now what's 15 minus 6?
14. No. 14.
15 minus
11.
9.
9.
It's 9.
I'm so bad at this. So 9.
We got to work on that. And then
So,
2 minus 1.
1. Okay. That was embarrassing.
That's
Okay.
it.
It's so
I'll
bad.
edit that out.
No, I literally haven't done that in like since 3rd grade. Like we always use calculators,
I know.
so it's literally to the point where like I always do everything on a calculator, so
Problem
I don't
is,
get it wrong.
Part of the test is non-calculator.
I know.
You know that, right?
And every test that I've had in my math is all calculator.
Calculator.
And I do everything on the calculator, so I don't get it wrong. And I've done that ever since like 4th grade, so that's probably not really good. So 16 plus.
And 16's already gone.
16's already gone. Plus 5b.
That's 5b.
So was that 19 plus 5b?
It's 19
I can't
over
see.
5 because this is 19 equals 5b. That's what you have right now. Take a breath.
Wait, what? I'm confused.
Okay,
now.
so just write 19 because you already did the math equals 5b.
Okay.
And now solve. There you go.
Okay, so b equals 19 over 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird number.
It's going to be. You got to embrace it.
Okay, so then I have to write the new equation.
Mm-hmm.
So y equals 4 over 5
Mm-hmm.
x plus 19 over 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's not going to get any harder than that.
Okay, that wasn't bad.
Explain to me, like you were teaching me, how to do the question then.
Okay, so first of all, you start off with the 2 points, and then you do the stacking thing. So you put the
Which one goes on top?
the y.
Mm-hmm.
So y and then the x's, and then you get the answer for that, which was 4 over 5. And then you're going to plug in, that was the slope, and then you're going to plug in one of the points that they gave you. So we plugged in the slope, and then we plugged in the points, and then we just simplify that. And then whatever we get for the b, we plug in that back into the y equals mx plus b, and then we plug in the slope.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Got it.
Got it? Okay. I'm going to pause the video now because that's all the linear stuff.
Learn how to subtract now.